Welcome to Mind, Body, Spirits podcast. I am your host, Amy Stevens, and today I have Mai Cooper with me. Welcome, Mai.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited to have you here because Mai is actually part of the Heal Aura Academy, which right off the bat, the name just sounds super interesting. And then I know that you are also involved in other things. I see that you have another podcast as well. What is it? Changemakers Without Borders, which I looked around that a bit and that looks super interesting. So I added you on that because it did look super interesting.
Thank you.
But the actual Heal Aura Academy, that's a family affair, isn't it?
Well, you could say so, yeah. It started with my dad, who started 20 years ago channeling. He actually passed through a car accident.
Oh my gosh.
Before then, he was working in the field of biology and very much of a science mind. My mom was the spiritualist who read all the books she could get on the subject, and he was totally not into these spiritual subjects. But after he passed through the accident, he started a completely different journey. First of all, the doctor said he couldn't walk, and so he couldn't continue his regular job. And he started to receive messages, like just hearing messages about people. He would see a person and he would suddenly receive something about them.
Wow.
Actually, there's this interesting story where he went to the mechanic after the accident to bring the car to the mechanic, and it was in a private mechanic's shop, and the mechanic had a photo of his extended family on the wall. And my dad, his name is Amir Cooper, he asked him, hey, who's this lady in the back there of the photo? And the mechanic said, oh, well, that's my grandma. And Amir said, well, I don't know why, but I'm receiving this like thought or message that your grandma owes this X amount of money to a family friend or to somebody. And the mechanic was totally floored. And he said, okay, well, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll check it out. And it turned out that he was correct, and the grandma had already passed. And they returned the money to this family friend that she had owed money to.
Wow.
And this is kind of an interesting story of how it started.
So when this started happening to him and he's hearing this voice, did he think it was God speaking with him? What did he think was going on here? Do you know?
Well, he understood that it was spirits, that like enlightened spirits that were giving him messages about people that when he told these messages to people, they told him that he was accurate, or that this and this thing happened to them in their past. There was this man who came to Amir, and he had this severe problem in his ear, and he went to all the doctors. He did all the necessary checks with the MRI, and they could not find what was the issue with his ear. And this issue was causing serious imbalance. The man couldn't walk straight, and really affecting his life. And when he came to a session with Amir, Amir told him, well, when you were in the army, there was a situation where when you were down in the barracks, basically in the tunnels, there was a bullet that went like right by, and I don't remember the exact details, but there was something there that hit him but did not kill him, and that was the thing that actually caused the imbalance. Wow. And the doctors were not able to actually find, even with knowing all his history, what had caused it. And later he received energetic exercises to deal with that issue.
That's super interesting. So,
So
so he went from having these, hearing these spirits. When did it enter into the whole aura part of it? When did this come into play?
well, so for several years he started receiving messages from different spirits, and then there was a more enlightened being that wanted to work with Amir, and his name is Orel, and this very very enlightened being um, basically has been working with Amir for the past 20 years, giving material on what the aura is, which is basically the natural energy field around
Okay.
each and every
Okay.
one of us. And just like a fingerprint, how every fingerprint is completely different than the next, the aura is has its own signature, has its own personality, and its own it's an entity.
Okay. Because that was my next thing is, how do you describe aura? Because I think most people automatically go to that thing where people can read auras and they associate it with a color and like, ooh, green means you're happy, and it kind of makes you think of, I was a child in the 70s, makes me think of the mood rings that everybody had in the 70s, and so that's what I think that's what a lot of people think of when you think of your aura, is just simply like your mood, because that's basically, that kind of a thing. So it's interesting to hear that it is so much more than
Yeah.
that. Like it's your spirit, right? Kind of like your spirit.
Well, the spirit and the aura are two different things, and this is a lot of
Okay.
things that we talk about in the course is what the aura is, what the spirit is, where is the
Where's the
different.
divine? Yeah.
And yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about, because um, your point about mood rings, right? I also had it back in grade 1 or 2,
Did you?
where
Okay.
the kids were going around with mood rings. Many people tell me, hey, like, okay, so can you teach me how to see auras? Can
Yeah.
you tell me what color my aura is having this moment? But the thing is, we work on a completely different scale with the aura. The colors, you could learn how to see it, but it's more of a almost like an extra thing, like fireworks, right? It's like seeing
Okay.
fireworks, whereas you learn with our method how to create the energy that lets that fireworks you
Oh,
know explode. And maybe this is not the greatest example. Another example would be seeing the aura is more like us understanding. My jacket right now is blue. Your sweater is red. Whereas we work on how do you actually, like, what makes up the jacket? How do we sew it? What makes it stick together, or sewn together?
okay.
What are the things that are picking at the threads and are actually causing us a lot of depression, anxiety, that are really a lot of the things in our lives, throughout childhood, throughout our adulthood, um, the actions we take and the thoughts that are coming into our mind are those kind of things that can pick at the threads
And
of what the
affect it.
aura is made up of.
Okay. So you on a personal basis, do you find that you use this like do you is that an automatic thing you do whenever you meet someone, or whenever whatever? I'm sitting here thinking of people that can speak to the dead, and they say that like when they go out in public they have to like just turn it off, or they would just never get anything done. Do you automatically see people and feel this or read their auras, or is that only if you're intentionally trying to do it? Like, how does
Well,
that work with you?
that is a great question. It is quite different than somebody who would receive messages from the dead. It is something very very natural, and it's different than channeling other spirits, right? The aura, every one of us has like a personal aura that we can connect to. But it's not like like many people think that, you know, they, if they meditate, or if they do the pendulum, you know, and those kind of things, might be a starting point. It might help them get into this world. But really, what we're talking about is being able to raise our energy and our spirit up so that we can receive messages in every moment. So you're asking me, do I have it like as an automatic? It's, you could call it that. I could go up and meet somebody, shake their hand, or even just know their name, or even without even knowing their name, just seeing them and know if this person I should talk with, or what is the integrity of this person. Of course, if we're wanting to ask more serious questions, you need to have a little bit more information about the person, such as
yeah. Because of course, the first thing I thought of whenever we saw each other on video was like, she's reading into my soul. You know, to clear everything here.
No, it's not like that at all. It's
Okay.
not like reading minds.
So I'm safe. I'm safe then.
Yes, you are.
So was this the path that you yourself were always on, or did you come into it because that's just what you were supposed to do? Because it is, because you said it's your father, but are there others in your family who also?
Yes, there are. My whole family is practicing this practical spirituality. We all know how to channel and receive wisdom and knowledge from our aura.
Wow.
You know, in every moment we have workshops where with the public, where we're all the time training on having more advanced techniques, more advanced methods of healing. We have healers who are working with this method. We have practitioners who come from massage, or you know, the Alexander method, or Feldenkrais, or many other things like Cairo. Even we've had people in the medical profession and even psychology who were using this really powerful tool to be able to help people in a much more accurate way. Because when you work on energy, energy is completely different than what we know. It's not based on logic. It's not based on equations. It's on, okay, well, Amy Stevens, what did you also? We also talk about PreBirth life plan.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
I've got that in there because, wow, that one. Yeah, because obviously you sent me the, the layout of what your program is about, and you had what are they called? The 4 keys, I guess. And when I got to that one, what does it say? Uncover your pre-birth plan. And that I was like, that is a showstopper right there, because I have never in my life heard anything like that. So explain this to us, please.
Okay, so the PreBirth life plan, and this is all material that was channeled by Amir Cooper from Orel, this very enlightened being that he's been working with for the past 20 years. Basically, before you and I were born, before any one of us was born, we wrote down as a soul what we wanted to do on this planet.
Okay.
And it's not related to karma. It's not related to other things like this. It's not even Akashic records. It's what we decided we wanted in a family, what we wanted in a career, what we wanted in our life as values, what kind of service do we want to bring to the public. So, working in Helora for more than 10 years, I've seen that everyone's pre-birth life plan has some sentences on contributing to the greater good, contributing to society in different ways. Somebody could be working with people with disabilities. Somebody would want to work with young children. Another person would like to work with adults on writing or music or give speeches. And it can be a myriad of many different things. But the one thread that I can say is in pretty much everyone's pre-birth life plan is contributing to the greater good.
That's super interesting. So do you find, I can imagine that if you are helping people to figure out their pre-birth plan, that has to be, it has to answer a lot of questions for people. For one thing, I would think, as far as like, oh, this is why I've never felt like I have, been complete, or this, do you find a lot of that going on whenever you're working on this part with people?
100%. People feel like it's a missing link that has suddenly come and has fit together, because it's not enough just there are different people who say write down 10 passions of yours and kind of rule the things that you like less, and keep the ones that really make your blood alive. The issue is that sometimes we're led astray by our thoughts, and this is one of the things that we in Helora do differently. We work on our thoughts, the source of our thoughts. We uncover not only the pre-birth life plan and what we wrote down before we were born that we wanted to do, but we look at the scripts and the thoughts that we have in our head that are really blocking us from seeing it. Because since a young age, we may have been connected to a higher state of being, but as we grow older, we lose this connection.
Yeah. And it's funny, like I'm sitting there comparing that to myself, and I feel like now that I'm doing what I'm doing, I look back on different points in my life, and I feel like all along there have been people who have said things to me, or just little moments where I felt like something was right, that have led me right up to this, right up to this. And it's just kind of funny when you have that little epiphany, like, oh, I think this is where I am supposed to be. I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing, And I mean, and on that same thought, I have daughters, well, one just out of college, one in grad school, and one in still her second year of college, and the youngest one, she's always still just so unsure, what. I'm like, it'll come to you one day, who knows how long it may take, but it'll come to you one day. And, sometimes you just have to follow that path. And so it's interesting that you have a little direct path here to figure this out. That's got to cut out a lot of the middle work there, that busy, wasted years, I guess, really.
Yes, it definitely is. It's not only a shortcut, it's a powerful journey to take, because, as you're describing with your daughter who's not sure where to go, I mean, she's not the only one. There are so many people there out there who are, even after, say they choose a career, they go out and they take a course, or they take a university degree, and then after 20 years they look back and they think, what did I do?
Right. I think that happens more often than not, honestly.
Yes. And it could be that some people do have a certain direction, but it might not be really the one that's accurate for them.
Yeah.
And so we work with people even who have already decided a career for them, and they're already in the business, how to bring the aura into their practice, into what they do in their everyday life, into their family, into their relationships. And relationships is a whole other thing. Like, one of the things that we talk about is it's really important not to choose a partner just based on common interests or even external attributes. But we talk about something quite deep, which is how two people can connect their pre-birth life plans together.
Wow.
And how they can create a higher vision in the coupleship, in the partnership, that can create a foundation that is much stronger than just any normal kind of connection.
So you guys need to get hooked in with some kind of marriage counseling or like the classes you take before you get married. In the Catholic faith, a lot of faiths do that now, but those little 6 weeks or whatever. There, you guys need in that category right there, I think.
We do actually give parenting courses, and we do a form of counseling. We do workshops with couples, and also our courses, the Keys for Life program that we offer, really brings the fundamentals of how to work with the aura. And as people progress, they have in their arsenal many of the tools that could help them also in their relationship.
Got it. And I saw that another thing on the keys, one of them said that you can, let's see here, heal people's auras and then also teach them to channel. So when you are saying channeling, automatically I think of when people channel spirits, but instead you're channeling your aura. Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Channeling as in a way to draw it. What does this type of channeling mean?
So channeling really means receiving knowledge from an outside source.
Oh, okay.
And so what we mean by channeling the aura is that suddenly you don't only have just you to bounce ideas off of, and not only a friend, but you suddenly have your aura, which is another kind of friend.
Got it. Okay.
Different than all the types of friends that you have, because because it's energy and it's related directly to your pre-birth life plan. So when you learn how to, through the Keys for Life course, how to clear away and to identify blockages that we have in our mind, how to identify patterns that we often get in, and how to take ourselves out of these emotional ruts, I would call them.
Yep.
Where and what I mean by emotional ruts is where you could be stuck in a kind of pattern where you're every day waking up and not feeling motivated to continue the day, or maybe an emotional rut could be in a relationship where the same type of relationship repeats over and over, and you're not able to get out of that type of thing.
Yeah, I just actually did a little thing, a TikTok the other day about that, talking about, and I actually did a whole podcast on that as well, but talking about how if you literally follow in the same path every single day and change nothing that you are doing, you are always going to end up at the same results. You're just always going to end up at the same results until is that kind of what you're talking about here? That it just gets like, it kind of makes me also think of when you hear about the spirits that will still be imprinted in a house. And it's because they follow the same path through the house every day and sat in that chair. And then they got up and you hear about these all the time. I don't know. I guess you probably hear about them too, but where they have followed this. And I'm like, that's right there. That's exactly what people do while they're living. They follow this same exact path, never having a different outcome. And it's mighty sad to be thinking that you would then be in the afterlife doing this same thing. So it's always best if you don't like what's going on to change things up.
Yes. But the thing is, how do you receive the energy? How do you get up and change? And that's one of the big things, right?
Yeah.
Because we could hear tons of motivational videos, and those motivational videos have some wisdom in them, right?
Right.
Don't procrastinate. make your bed, clean up your room. Go ahead and pick up a hobby that you always have been putting aside.
Yeah.
But the question is, first of all, how do you get the energy to do that? How do you get out of that emotional rut? And we were connecting that to, like, you were asking about channeling and what is channeling, and I was starting to say that the aura is like a friend, except that it allows you. It's the tool that can allow you to get out of these emotional ruts, to get out of these physical ruts, to be able to eat better. Even people who have not even come to Healora to lose weight or to be healthier physically, they came for a different problem. Suddenly their energy work with this method allowed them to channel what is the best food for them, not based on blood type, but based on what their body needs on an energetic level, which is a completely different tier. It's a completely different level that we're talking about.
So once you have taught someone how to be able to tune into their aura, is this something then that, like, do they have to continue to, I guess, have tune-ups with you all? Or is this something, once you have learned it, then you can refine it on your own and just keep going? Is it something like you don't have to do the reading of the aura for the person? You are educating the people on how to do this. Am I correct in thinking that?
Well, of course, it depends on how much the person is willing to invest in
That's
their
true.
development, right? There are people, that what we do, it does not work for everyone. There are people who come into our courses and they think that it's a quick fix. They think that they can come in, listen, and then go home, just like a university lecture. They think
Yeah.
that they don't need to put any effort. And then those kind of people, well, it's like nothing changes, right? It's like wanting to lose weight, but you don't put in the exercise, you don't
Yeah.
do your diet.
Looking for the pill.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
our kind of work is meant for people who are sick and tired of the way that their life is right now. Or they know that there's something beyond, that there's something that is beyond what they know right now that can help them feel better, that can elevate their relationship and can elevate their career.
Wonderful.
And so you were asking basically how, like, if it's something that somebody can come in and kind of do on their own. Well, that's why we have 3 different levels
Okay.
that people can come in. In the first level, they come and they get like, it's packed full of practical exercises and methods, and people see changes right away if they start implementing. I mean, after the first day of a course, recently, a woman who, a single woman with 2 children, so a single mom, she was addicted to, you could call it a soft addiction to Coca-Cola. So she would be drinking those big
Styrofoam.
ones,
Oh gosh, yeah.
2 of them every day.
Oh my gosh.
And after the first session, she just didn't feel the need for that
Wow.
anymore. And so the energy works in ways where we don't need to have any external substances, any alcohol. We don't use any drugs, no mushrooms, nothing like that. This is all about you and what you put in, and the work you put into yourself and into the work with the aura, and you will see results immediately.
Okay. And so since I'm assuming that in the past years, you've probably done a lot of these sessions and group settings where you have people meeting in person. But these times that we are in, I'm assuming everything you are doing is like we are doing right now, or, something similar to that. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, actually, for forever, we've been working with people all over the world. So in Europe, in the US, and in Scandinavia through the phone.
Wow.
And we've been doing videos sometimes, depending on who the participants are and what is what are they able to do in matter of the technology. So we've been doing that for the past 20 years.
Well, good. You were way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game.
Yeah, and energy doesn't, right. This is one of the things with the work that we do, where you listen on the phone. There's a very interactive type of culture with the way that we give courses. It's about your life. It's not just theory. We bring our tools and our fundamentals, especially in the first course, but in all the rest of the levels, according to what's going on in your life, and how we can tailor it, how we can tailor the tools to what you can do. Of course, there needs to be some effort and energy from the other person, but really what we've noticed from a lot of people's feedback is that it's quite easy to see results.
Are parts of it in group settings and parts in one-on-one, or how does that work?
We mostly do group in a group setting, but we do have personal sessions where somebody will receive a personal session with a channeler that helps them receive a direction according to their pre-birth life plan, and we call them, basically you could call them like homework on things to improve in their lives. We don't call it homework, we call it more like missions, like
yeah. Yeah. Does it involve a lot of meditation then, when for the people doing their homework? Is meditating kind of the route to take to?
That's a great question. Actually, we do not do any meditation.
Wow. I just thought for sure that was going to be the golden ticket right there. Interesting.
Yeah, we do not do any meditation, trances, pendulums. There is nothing like that. One of the things is with that makes our work unique is that we teach people how to be strong with their energy and strong inside themselves, so that they can receive messages like in the moment, where
Wow.
where they could be work. I use the aura all the time, and it helps me with studies that I'm doing, like higher studies. It helps with relationships in the family. It helps with so many things, with my work on writing. There's no such thing for me as writer's block, for example.
Wow.
Because I'm able to receive just like a stream of ideas or a stream of energy. It's not like a trance. Like with meditation, one of the restrictions that it has is it's not like something very practical that you can use every day in when you're having an argument, or how to even guide your children for
Yeah.
young children. They use the aura to know what is a good way to react in a certain situation. How should I educate my child in a certain way?
Huh.
And there's tons of examples I could bring.
That's so interesting, because I have the worst time trying to meditate. I can't ever seem to quiet my mind, and all of these things, because my mind is just always going. My mind is just always going. So maybe I need to be tuning into my aura more. So maybe that's why. Maybe my aura is trying to always tell me things. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to definitely go with that. It's my aura won't let me meditate.
Well, one of the things is that one of the main things that we do is to be able to know if our thoughts are serving us or not, and they're from a different system that is actually trying to hinder our development. And so if somebody would try to kind of dissect our thoughts, if you'd write down like all the thoughts you have in this moment, you'd find that more than 95% of our thoughts do not serve us.
Wow.
And that's one of a small exercise in a myriad of exercises that we give people. But the main thing is to see, how do we change that around? How do we change our lives so that 95% of our thoughts do serve us, or
Yeah.
that if we do have thoughts that are hindering us, how do we identify them and
Yeah.
take action so that they do not hinder us, so that we create new thoughts, so that we create new directions. And another thing is that um, often people take directions that are that do not serve them also in matter of their pre-birth life plan, that it's not what they had written down that they wanted to do, even though it might look enlightened, or it might look good. Right? There could be somebody who in their pre-birth life plan says, um, you know, I want to be an educator, and I want to go and study the subject of neuroscience, and to be maybe a doctor, or to be a researcher in this field of neuroscience. But then we could be taking a different direction of learning biology, or working with animals, or something like this. Which
Yeah.
for another person, it could be that's their pre-birth life plan is to be, to work with animals closely, and to maybe do healing with children and animals. But for the person we're talking about here, it actually wouldn't fit him.
Right. Right. It would be an amazing thing if absolutely everybody knew what their pre-birth plan was. I mean, I just can't imagine how much more satisfied everybody would be. My gosh, if you knew exactly what it was you were meant to be doing.
And
Because,
yes,
yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, because I think, I feel when my, daughter, when our daughter says these things, it's like, oh gosh, if only you knew, because it is a hard thing for someone that young to just know, because it's just a difficult thing to figure out, and you don't know typically until you get out into the world and begin to, on this journey to figure out what's going to suit you. So, wow, to have that upper hand, to be able to know what it is you are actually meant to be doing. That's, I think people that know that automatically are so lucky. you know, I mean, when people just kind of hit the nail on the head and they're happy their whole life doing what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Hmm. Any other, can you think of any things that we did not hit upon here that you want to tell us about all of this?
Well, if you don't mind, I would like to just respond to what you just said about,
Okay. Yeah.
having the knowledge of the pre-birth life plan. It's not only the feeling of satisfaction; it's a point of power, inner power. I'm not talking about power of like taking over the world.
Right.
I'm talking about confidence,
Yeah.
and feeling good, and being whole. Those kind of things are what makes us powerful, and
Yeah.
makes us be able to contribute in a much better way. And all these young people and older people who are taking their own lives, because
Yeah.
really they feel so lost that they have no real direction, and they feel so lonely. I mean, even if especially in COVID, um, when you aren't able to go out and meet friends,
Oh, yeah.
people who are working with the aura, they're automatically not lonely anymore. And that's one of the things
Wow.
that one of the participants recently told me, that she felt, she's in a different country, and she said, wow, like taking this course, I finally feel like I'm not alone.
Wow.
And that's one of those things that this issue of loneliness is probably one of the biggest issues that is um, penetrating into our society today, that we do not have much solution for. I mean,
Oh, yes.
England just appointed several years ago a minister for loneliness.
Really? Huh.
Yes, and so many people are turning towards technology in order to
Mhm.
connect,
Yeah. Yeah.
not always in the healthiest ways.
Right.
And instead, we we basically give people the option to connect to the aura, to connect to other people who are working with the aura, and um, and in doing so, they have a tool to know who is the best person to have a relationship with, on a much deeper level, and or who, yeah, what to spend their time in, that could be maybe not what they thought of before at all.
Well, and you just saying that about people turning to technology right now. And I get it now because of course we have to do the social distancing and everything. But that in itself is really crazy because you've lost that personal connection with people and you don't even have the possibility of just seeing someone's eyes, of being able to, how you can pick up, well, I think most people can pick up on like, something about them just skeeved me out, that kind of a thing because there was just some mannerism or they just have that look about them, that when you can just pick up that something's not good about that person, and when you are just strictly relying on technology, you have completely you've cut their aura out, basically. I mean, I would think for most people, unless you are highly tuned in and able to read, because I know you guys do a lot of the remote stuff, but for the for the average person, you have completely just taken that out of the equation and made yourself that much more vulnerable.
Yes, and and we're afraid also to be vulnerable. That word that you just used, it's a powerful one, because one of the things that I find is that people are afraid to be vulnerable
Oh
as well.
yeah,
And that's the
sure.
flip side, right?
Because
Uh,
that's a weakness.
and they look at it, they look at self development as a weakness, as like, oh, is there something wrong with me that I need to fix?
Yeah.
Instead of looking at it as something that we just like we take higher education for a career, we can educate ourselves and we can take action in order to be better in so many other areas that are maybe not academic, but also in the academic. I mean, we've had so many people come to us and say, hey, like, there's something not working well in our business. There's just something here that is just not working, and we don't know what to do. Can you, with your intuitive talent, tell us what's going on? And through personal sessions, uh, we actually guided them through a completely different route that they didn't expect, which was to work
Wow.
on these two partners' relationship, who happened to be a husband and wife. And in
Hmm.
working on their romantic relationship, their business thrived.
Interesting.
Now, I can give you a few more examples of how the work in Hilora has impacted people's lives.
Sure. Go for it.
For example, there was this, we were mentioning relationships and loneliness. So there was this woman who came to us, and uh, she was experiencing the same type of relationship over and over. She also had a certain type that she was attracted to, the gym going
Yeah.
guy, um, who always looked who always looked good and was great in bed
Yeah.
maybe, and really good in business as well, perhaps. And she would get into a relationship with one of these types of people, and after 2 years, they would cheat on her. And like this cycle happened 4 or 5 times, where she would, they'd break up after she'd
Right.
cover this, and she would be heartbroken and then get into another relationship, and the same thing happened after 2 years.
Yep.
And she was getting older. She thought she would never be a mother, and with working on her aura and balancing the layers in her aura and working on the thoughts she has in her head and the blockages and connecting to her pre-birth life plan and her career thrived. Or she was also throughout this process changing her perception about relationships and what her aura wanted in a relationship, what her aura wanted in a family, what her pre-birth life plan wanted in a family. And she started dating a guy who was completely not her type, who was actually, maybe not very well dressed and not going out to the gym. He was educated, actually. He was an engineer, and they fell in love and now they have 2 children who are 10 years old, around the age of 10 years old. And both of them are actually working with their aura.
Nice.
In educating their children.
Ooh, smart. Very smart. And I think it's important. I don't think, I mean, I have always been a believer in the laws of attraction before I ever knew what it was called. I've always been really big on you should trust your gut. And so I've always passed these things on to the girls, our 3 daughters, always. And, I think to me, it's odd that more people don't do that. I don't know. I think those are such important tools, not just, I think it's something that everybody should have in their toolbox that they're passing on to their kids that I think very few people actually do. So that's really cool that they knew how important that was. And it benefits them so much in decisions and especially the biggest one in ours was always the trusting your gut thing, because that's there for a reason, that's your high alert system, and so I wish more people would look more into these types of things and, for lack of a better term, buy into all of these types of things that can help you spiritually, can help you understand more about yourself and why you make decisions, just like, well, I don't know. When you are trusting your gut, I wonder how much of that is like your aura speaking to you. I wonder how interconnected something like instinct is in that. Do you think that is a part of it, instinct?
That's part of what we talk about in the course. And what I can tell you is that the gut feeling is something that could be the aura.
Okay.
It could be. The issue with them taking that as like a word of, like the new rule is that without a balanced aura, without raising your energy, which is something that we stress in the course and we work on very extensively to bring our energy up. If you don't do those things and take those measures, then you could be relying on instinct that is inaccurate. I'll give you an example from the Greek mythology.
Okay.
The Odyssey by Homer.
Right.
So there's a story in the Odyssey where Odysseus and his shipmates are sailing in the sea, and they come across this well-known island with sirens, who are these beautiful women who sing in the most sonorous and beautiful voice, and it's irresistible. Right. No one can actually resist their charm, and but what is known is that they lure you in and then kill the men. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Odysseus in the story asks his shipmates to tie him to the wheel and plug his ears and plug and put a a band over his eyes, as well as the other shipmates as well, that they have to plug their ears, and they are able to cross that island or beside that island safely.
Right.
And why did I share this story? Well, this story shows us how many things could look to us like these beautiful women or handsome men.
Right. Right.
It could be a certain career. It could be a person. It could be, anything else that comes across our path in life. And we could be lured in, but at the end of the day, it might harm us. It might kill us. Maybe not in the literal sense, but on an emotional level,
Right.
or on a spiritual level, or create so much trauma that the next time we want to get into a relationship, or the next time we want to maybe start over a new career, we will be afraid of that island, and we wouldn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole.
True.
And so this kind of thing could also translate into instinct, right? This person, it's like a love at first sight. But that could really, really harm us at the end of the day. And that's one of the things that we work on, which is
Deciphering.
deciphering and identifying that whatever you feel might not necessarily be the truth.
Okay. Pretty complicated stuff, Mai. Pretty complicated stuff.
It is quite I would say once you get into it, it's fascinating. It is quite fascinating. But of course, it takes desire to want to improve yourself. And it's complex as well. If you want to really get into the very fascinating material on how the aura is built, and the enlightened world, and cosmic rules, and many other things.
Yeah.
But you also don't need that in order to know about the aura and how to work with it. And it can actually be very, very easy once you start doing things.
So is your father actually still, is he still leading groups and so on and so forth?
He is leading groups to a select group of very trained individuals who have taken their work with the aura to a very, very high level. And some people throughout going through the levels do get to that. It depends. It's like martial arts. It depends on how much you want to master this work. And they're really, the sky isn't the limit. It's like there is no
limit.
Yeah, there's no ceiling to the development you can do with the aura. And that's one of the wonderful things about it. It's doesn't stop at your type A or your type B, or it doesn't stop at sorry, we don't have any more methods, like this is where it ends, kind of thing.
So how did your father come to know? Did the spirit tell him the name, his name, her name?
Yes.
Wow, interesting.
He told him that the name is Orel, yeah, which in ancient Hebrew means the light of God.
Oh, wow. Interesting. How do you spell that? What is O-R?
Yeah, O-R-E-L.
O-R-E-L. Wow. That is. Does he still receive messages? Does he receive them daily, or?
Yeah, sometimes, yes. Yeah, he does work with quite a few people. They're writing books on building a healthy family, building a healthy relationship. Also, children's books that are written with the spirit of teamwork and cooperation and friendship, and teaching morals and many things. So we're actually soon publishing a book from the spirit of Leonardo, which Amir Cooper also channels. And that's
wow. So he's channeling more than just one. He has multiples. Wow.
Yes, he is also, he's very talented, and he's able to channel spirits on a superbly accurate level.
Wow.
He in the past channeled spirits of parents of participants who have passed. So he channeled for the participant, like their dad or their mom, and whatever the participants always said, or the individual, sorry, that it was like hearing their father in the room,
Oh, wow.
like hearing their mother. Yeah, because he was able to like receive it to the nth degree of accuracy. It's just amazing.
And what did you say your father did before the accident?
He was working in the sector of he was actually working in landscaping, and he was also in biology.
In
Uh,
biology. So,
was
and your
teaching
mother was,
courses.
and your mother was the spiritual one.
Yeah,
She was probably like, what the heck when this all happened?
he was
I
ecstatic.
can't imagine.
Yes.
I can't imagine. Well, it served him well, obviously. If what would you say, 20 years later or
Well,
something to that effect,
but,
he's still
but
doing it?
yeah, we for the more than 10 years now we've had Helora Academy, and we've been teaching courses and
Oh,
doing
okay.
personal sessions, and it's growing all the time. We already have a book published
Oh, nice.
from sessions with Aurel, and it's coming out as a second newly edited edition. People can also find exercises on our YouTube channel if they search Helora Academy. We gave some energy exercises to support the immune system.
So
For
how do we, what's the name of your YouTube channel?
uh, if you just search on YouTube Helora Academy,
And spell that out for us, for the listeners.
so it's HEAL, so Heal Aura, AURA, all one word, Helora Academy, ACADEMY.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, because we obviously want people to know how to get in touch with you. And you have a website. Is that also?
Yes, certainly. It's heloraacademy.com. So it's spelled with both the A's. So HEALAURAACADEMY. So Helora Academy.
One long word. Okay, wonderful. Well, this has certainly been an interesting and enlightening conversation because, yeah, I talked to a lot of different people about a lot of different modalities, and this was one that I had not actually ever heard of. And, it kind of seems funny that it really should be one of the most obvious since that is who we are. I mean, that really makes up the majority of us. So I do hope that people get in contact with you and follow you and heal their auras.
Thank you so much, Amy. I really appreciate you having us on your podcast. And just to say that we have open enrollment and we have all of the information on the website, but people can also email us at grow@helora.com.
Grow@helora.com. Wonderful. Okay. Well, I thank you so much, Mai. Everybody stay safe. Thanks.
Thank you so much.